The night Brandon Swanson disappeared began like any other late spring night in rural Minnesota. Quiet, wide, and dark in a way only the Midwest can be dark. It was May 14th, 2008. 19-year-old Brandon had just finished his first year at Minnesota West Community and Technical College. He was majoring in wind energy, a field that made sense for a young man living among the endless plains where turbines slowly slice the sky. That evening, he decided to drive from Marshall, the town where he lived with his parents, to the nearby town of Lynd for an end-of-semester gathering with friends. By all accounts, it was an ordinary night. No conflict, no drama, just a teenager marking the end of his school year with people he cared about. Sometime around midnight, Brandon got into his green Chevy Lumina and started the short drive home, a trip of roughly 7 to 10 minutes under normal conditions. But he never made it. At 1:54 a.m., Brandon called his parents. He sounded calm, not panicked. He told them he had accidentally driven into a ditch on a back road and needed a ride home. He believed he was near Lynd, the same town he had just left. His parents, Brian and Annette Swanson, got dressed, got in the car, and headed out to find him. As they drove, Brandon stayed on the phone. For 47 minutes, they talked, continuously. Brandon described what he saw: lights in the distance, the curve of the road, a gravelly surface beneath his shoes after he stepped out of the car. But the more they searched, the less anything matched. Brandon's father flashed his headlights. He told Brandon to look for them. Brandon flashed his, but each saw nothing. Two people, both certain they were in the same place. But they were not. At one point, Brandon became frustrated. He told his parents he would walk toward Lynd, toward what he thought were the town lights in the distance. His father stayed on the line. As Brandon walked, he narrated what he felt and heard. Gravel underfoot, the wind carrying the smell of damp fields, occasional rustles in the tall grass as he passed. He told his father about following fences, hearing water somewhere nearby, and navigating the dark by the distant glow of a town he was certain was Lynd. Then came the final minutes, the part that has haunted investigators for over a decade. At 2:23 a.m., exactly 47 minutes into the call, Brandon's voice changed. Suddenly sharp, alarmed, he said two words, "Oh, shh," and the call disconnected. The phone didn't die. It didn't fade. It didn't break apart. It simply went silent. His parents kept calling him back, over and over, dozens, then hundreds of times. The phone rang every time, but he never picked up. When daylight came, the search for Brandon began immediately. His abandoned car was located around noon, but in a place no one expected. Not near Lynd, not even close. It was found near Porter, a small town almost 25 miles away, in the opposite direction of where Brandon believed he was. This simple fact changed everything about the investigation. It meant Brandon was almost certainly disoriented, believing he was near one town while actually being far closer to another. It also meant that the lights he saw in the distance, the ones he believed were Lynd, could have been farm lights, house lights, or even the lights of another small town altogether. Search teams combed the area. Dogs traced his scent along fields, gravel roads, and toward the Yellow Medicine River. But something strange happened. The scent trail ended, just stopped. Not at a cliff, not at deep water, not near a sinkhole or ravine. It simply ended in open land. Over the years, several theories have emerged. None are fully satisfying. 1. He fell into the river. This was one of the earliest theories, that Brandon said, "Oh, shoo," because he slipped into the Yellow Medicine River. But the river was thoroughly searched, multiple times, with dredging, with sonar, with dive teams, no clothing, no body, nothing. 2. He fell into an unmarked well or drainage pipe. That part of Minnesota has old drainage structures, abandoned wells, and culverts. But this theory has problems. If Brandon fell into a well, cadaver dogs should have detected something. They never did. 3. He suffered a medical emergency and collapsed. Possible, but it does not explain the sudden panic in the last seconds of the call. And again, no remains, not even a shoe. 4. He encountered an animal. Minnesota has coyotes, but attacks on humans are rare. And even then, dogs and search teams should have found signs. They did not. 5. Foul play. Some believe Brandon may have encountered another person, perhaps a driver, a farmer, a stranger. Yet investigators found no indication of a struggle, no footprints suggesting a chase, no tire tracks suggesting an abduction. It remains one of the least supported theories, yet also one of the hardest to rule out completely. 6. The most accepted theory: misstep into a hidden ditch or ravine. Some search experts believe Brandon may have stepped into a steep, unseen depression, the kind hidden by tall grass. He could have been injured, incapacitated, and later concealed by weather, animals, or field activity. But again, nothing has ever been found. One of the most compelling parts of this case is the phone data. After the call ended, Brandon's phone continued pinging towers until the next day. Not continuously, but enough to show the phone stayed powered for hours after the conversation ended. This suggests he did not fall into deep water. The phone was not destroyed. The battery did not die immediately, at least for a while. Brandon, or his phone, was still out there. Brandon's parents have been relentless for over 15 years. They pushed for new searches, new teams, new technology, new interviews. They even fought to change Minnesota law, creating Brandon's Law, which requires police to treat missing adults as potentially endangered, regardless of their age. Their dedication brought national attention to the case. But even with all of that, Brandon himself remains missing. There's something uniquely haunting about rural disappearances. The overwhelming quiet, the vast spaces, the way fields roll on for miles without interruption. Brandon's disappearance is an example of a case where someone can vanish in plain geography. No city, no alleys, no strangers passing by. Just open land and a young man on the phone with his father. What happened in those final seconds? What caused that sudden fear in his voice? And why, after all this time, is there still no trace? Searches have continued for years, sometimes with volunteer teams, sometimes with professional units. Each time, investigators focus on the area where dogs traced his scent, the direction he described walking, the terrain matching his verbal cues. But each time, nothing. No fabric, no bone, no shoe, no phone. It remains one of the most confounding missing person cases in modern American history. At the heart of this case is one simple, painful truth. Brandon Swanson vanished while talking to his father, not knowing that the sound of his own voice would be the last trace he left behind. There are cases where people disappear because of city life, crime, or chaos. But this is different. This is a disappearance swallowed by the openness of the world. No witnesses, no motive, no answer. Just a 19-year-old boy, walking alone in the dark, guided by lights that weren't what he thought they were. A final startled exclamation, a phone line going dead, and a mystery the land refuses to give back. What do you think happened in the final seconds before Brandon said those last words? Your insight, even a single detail, could help keep this case alive. Share your thoughts below, and let's keep Brandon's story from fading into the dark. If you want more stories like this, cases that deserve to be remembered, subscribe to Unsolved Plus. Every week, we revisit mysteries that still need answers, and the voices still waiting to be heard. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and stay curious.